If you're trying to elevate your game day meal, try these loaded steak and cheese nachos. You will not be disappointed. Alright, so I like to always start off by chopping up my vegetables. That way I can have them set to the side and out the way, and I don't have to worry about chopping them up later on in the cooking process. So right here I have a half of an onion. Next, I'm gonna dice up a green bell pepper. Cut up a red bell pepper. Okay guys, now that I have my vegetables chopped up, I'm going to thinly slice my top sirloin steak. If you don't want to use top sirloin steak, you can also use flank steak. You can also use skirt steak. Or if you baller, you can get you a nice cut of ribeye steak. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to chop my sirloin steak against the grain in thin slices. And then after I cut them up in thin slices, I'm going to also cut them up in little tiny chunks. Alright guys, so now that my meat is all chopped up, I'm going to add some avocado oil to my skillet. Going to cook this meat and add these vegetables and put everything together because these loaded nachos are going to be off the chain. Okay, so I'm going to add my meat to the skillet. And guys, what I didn't show you that was off camera is that I put about 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce into my meat and kind of mixed it up to give it a little bit of extra flavor. And I'm going to cook this on medium heat. Okay, now so for the beginner stage of cooking my meat, the seasoning process, all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of salt. And some pepper. Now we're going to add some more seasoning to this mix later on in the video. Okay, so now that my meat is done browning, I drained the excess liquid that was built up inside the skillet, and I set the meat to the side. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my vegetables to the pan, saute those up a little bit, and then I'm going to add my meat back to the pan and seasoning it up some more. And to the pan, I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter. And for those of you who's new to the channel, the ingredients to the recipe is going to be in the description box below. Okay, now that my vegetables are nice and softened, I'm going to add the meat back to the skillet. Okay, so now I'm going to season up my meat mixture a little bit more. I'm going to add some minced garlic. And the reason I put the garlic in at the last is because I don't want the garlic to burn. Add a little bit of Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some Cajun seasoning. Low sodium. Like I always say, I like to control the salt content in my recipes. Just gonna give that a mix. And guys, this recipe comes together real quick. Alright guys, so now that my meat is finished cooking with the vegetables, I'm gonna start on this cheese sauce. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a stick of butter to my pan, and I'm just give that time to melt a little bit. I have this on low heat because I don't wanna burn my butter. And also when you start adding the cheese to the roux, you don't want the cheese to start boiling on a high heat, because what that will cause is your cheese to separate from the fat. And that's why you have that greasy, cheesy sauce sometimes. You know, at times, you know, you see your macaroni and cheese looking greased with all that oil on top of it. That's because you have your temperature too high when you're making your cheese sauce. So if you cook it at a low heat, you won't have all that grease. I need to be a rhyme. I need to be a rapper. That rhymed. Okay, so now that my butter has melted, I'm going to add about 6 tablespoons of flour. Now the reason I'm adding so much is because I'm making a lot of cheese sauce, because I'm cooking for 2 and we love cheese on our nachos. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to whisk that together and let it cook for a few minutes. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to cook off that flour taste. And that's another reason why you want to cook your roux at a low temperature, so you won't burn it basically. Okay, so, and I'm gonna just let it cook for a couple of more minutes on low heat. And I'm gonna continuously whisk my mixture, that way it won't burn. Okay, so now that my roux has cooked long enough, I'm gonna add milk to my roux. You can also use half and half, or you can use heavy whipping cream, whichever one you have available. And like I said, the ingredients are going to be in the description box below, so you can get the specific amount. Like I said, guys, I'm making a large amount of cheese sauce because I'm cooking for 2. And like I said, we like a lot of cheese on our nachos. Now that I have my milk mixed in with the roux, I'm going to give it a whisk. I'm going to allow this to come to a low boil. So now that my roux and my milk has came to the temperature that I want it to come to, I'm going to start adding my cheese to this mixture. And the cheese that I have is sharp cheddar, pepper jack, and gouda cheese. You can add whatever cheese that you prefer. And I'm also going to put this back on a simmer. Okay, so I turned the heat up just a little bit, but I'm gonna turn it back down to a simmer. And as I add the cheese, I'm just going to whisk. That way the cheese can start to melt. And as you can see, guys, the cheese is melting wonderfully in this sauce. And also, guys, if you see that your sauce is thicker than what you want, you can always add more liquid to it. Okay, guys, so this is actually the consistency that I want for my nachos. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some of the seasonings that I put into my meat mixture. So I'm going to come back with the onion powder, the garlic powder. I'm also going to add a little bit of my smoked paprika and just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm going to give that a mix. And remember, guys, to always taste your cooking. Make sure the taste is where you want it. I can sit up here and add all these ingredients that I want, but if it's not tasting the way that you want it to taste, you can always add more. I suggest that you add a little bit of seasonings at a time, because the thing about it is that you can always add more seasonings, but you can't take away. So always add a little bit at a time until it reaches your taste preference. Okay, so my cheese sauce is finished. I just tasted it. It's delicious. It's the consistency that I want. I don't want it too thick because I want to pour it over my nachos. Okay, now that the cheese sauce is done, let's get into making these homemade tortilla chips. And it's very easy, guys. All we're going to do is we're going to cut these into 4. And this is how you cut it. You got you some chips. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fry them. Alright, guys, so we are getting close to finishing these loaded steak cheese nachos. All we have to do now is lay the cut up tortillas into the hot oil. And guys, these are gonna cook pretty quick, so you gotta make sure you keep an eye on them. So what you want to do is you want to kind of keep them moving throughout the hot oil. That way they can cook evenly. You want your heat to be around 325 degrees. And as you can see, they're already getting a nice brown color to them. And another tip, guys, it's good to use a slotted spoon. That way, when you take them out of the hot oil, you can allow them to drain. Okay, guys, so once the tortillas are done cooking, we're going to remove them from the hot oil. And we're going to salt them immediately. Alright, guys, everything is finished. Now it is time to assemble these wonderfully made loaded nachos. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, first we want to add some chips to the plate. Then we're going to add some of the meat mixture. Then we're going to add some of the shredded cheese. We're going to pour some of this delicious cheese sauce over the nachos. We're going to add another layer of chips. And we're going to repeat the process of adding meat mixture to the nachos. And like I said, guys, these are loaded steak and cheese nachos. Some of our shredded cheese. Some of our cheese sauce right on top. And to that, I'm going to add some diced tomatoes. For the toppings. Add some jalapenos. Now, if you don't like spice, you can definitely omit these jalapenos. And we also want to add some chopped avocado. For the final touch, we're going to add us some sour cream. Uh-oh. Okay, guys, now as always, the nachos are assembled. They're looking good. Now it is time for the taste test. Let's dig into these nachos. Okay, so this chip right here looks like it has a little bit of everything on it. These nachos, like I said, is going to elevate your game day food. The cheese sauce is off the chain. The toppings is just going to take it to another level. Guys, you need to try these steak cheese nachos because they are definitely hitting on all 10s. And if you like the food vibe that we did today, remember to like, subscribe to the channel. And like always, I'll see you in the next video.